I made this video about 10 years ago describing what I went through in West Point, New York in the summer of '02. And it was real. They say I hallucinated, but I believe it was a real spiritual event. And what I saw that particular morning, I was getting in trouble for no reason in my Scout Recon platoon with the 101st Airborne Division. And my sergeant said, go take the platoon's water canteens and fill them all up with water and leave yours here. So I did. I came back and he smoked me, which means I had to do push-ups and flutter kicks, and I got real smoked and hot. It was a hot summer day, and I started drinking my water. And he said, now take this 5-gallon water can, take these 2 5-gallon water cans to the bottom of the rappel cliff to set up training for the cadets for that day. And so I did. I carried him down there, following my orders. And I look over when I get to the bottom, and there's this black furry tail going back and forth, sort of like a panther or tiger tail, but it had butterflies around it, all flying around this bush that was shaking. And I got closer to it, and this black hooded figure pops out from behind the bush. Real jagged, sharp, pointy hood, and real long, pointy black fingers pointed to the side of the road. And he was like telling me to get in this van that had just pulled up. And it was a rusty old van with the side door open. And it freaked me out because I was in New York. I had never been in New York before. And I was not about to get in that van. And I walked into the wood line where I saw a tree dying. It was in the middle of summertime, and I saw a tree dying and shedding its leaves like it was autumn. And I felt my heart sink, and I felt like somebody was dying. And then I saw this clear silhouette moving through the trees, sort of like the Predator movie costume, the invisibility suit. I was seeing that, and I just couldn't believe it all, what I was seeing. And I lay down on a boulder and looked up at the sky, and I saw 2 airplanes fused together by the nose, hovering in midair, totally stuck in midair. This is 1 year after 9/11, so that's where that came from. And then I saw squirrels and bugs, and all these things were following me through the woods. And I seen a tree that had a yellow dot, an orange dot, and a blue dot, with other trees behind it that branched out. Like blue dots went one way, orange dots went one way, and yellow dots went the other way. And I remember I chose the blue path and followed it way up this mountain. And while I was walking, I heard some footsteps, and I looked behind me, and there's a herd of deer following me, and they had big black eyes and sharp, snarling teeth. And they kept getting closer to me, so I picked up a stick and yelled at them, and they started running. And as soon as they got behind a tree, they all disappeared. It's like they went behind a tree, but nothing came out on the other side all at the same time. It's like, zoop. And then I saw a puddle of tadpoles, like thousands of tadpoles, and they were instantly turning into frogs and hopping over each other and going everywhere. And then I sat down on this log, and I saw a flower grow instantly, and it bloomed, and it was real, and I was reaching out and touching it, and these hummingbirds came up and was going to the flower, and then they'd come right up in my face and go back to the flower. And then I heard these horns, these trumpets sounding, and it started raining, and I had no water, and I was drinking out of water puddles to stay alive, and I had totally forgotten about my training site and my scout platoon. And I remember when I was still back at the cliff, they were throwing rocks at me, and they were rolling around on the ground and turning into like little acorns when they break into pieces. And then as the day went on, it got darker. I visualized this body of water turning into like fire or lava with a lot of like dead people coming out of it and standing there chanting like zombies. And then it had been raining all damn day, and that I was found on the side of a state highway in New York, almost to the border of Canada. From West Point, that's about 100 miles that I walked through the woods and the mountains. And the police picked me up and took me back to West Point, where they were furious. They threatened to kill me. All sorts of stuff. And, but it was also real. And I hallucinated for like 3 days straight. I saw the army kill my family, even though they really didn't, but they killed my family and put them in the A bags and B bags. And they were telling me this is what you get. And it was a very traumatic experience, but it was all evil. I saw a half manatee, half horse, half man, with big muscles, holding a pitchfork. And then I saw angels above this swamp, and the water turned black. And these angels were protecting me from the devil. And this is all true story, and it really happened. And I looked up years later, that spot near West Point is called Hell's Hole, New York. And I really do believe that is a gateway to hell. It was a very bad summer that year in the Army. The training was more hardcore. They took it to levels that most people couldn't do, but we were still doing it. Made us deformed and everything else. But this is a true story.